to the channel, okay? So you guys can watch the video if you need to watch it. So let's create a new project, okay? So you click on new project and then you're gonna choose Java, okay? Guys, we're using IntelliJ because IntelliJ has a lot of advantages. The Intellisense is very good. The Intellisense is the suggestions when you type something, it's gonna give you suggestions of what to type, what syntax to use, and things like that. And also, you don't have to save. Every time that you change the code or add something, you don't have to save. You just run it, and IntelliJ will save it for you. You could have used Eclipse. Eclipse is another one that is used for this too, but Eclipse you have to save every time you do it, and is a little less sophisticated than IntelliJ. So IntelliJ is a good choice for this kind of class and language. Okay, so you do next, right? You do next, and then here we're gonna choose the project name. We're gonna call it Java. Just give me 1 second. I don't want to have a conflict in my folder system here. Okay, just give me 1 second here. So I'm gonna call it Java cert 1Z0 and then 808. So that's the Java certification code.
It asks for SDK. So what option should we select into project? No SDK.
What do you mean SDK? I don't see any SDK here.
When I click next, it asks.
Next is finished. The next button is finished.
Yeah.
So when you start a new project in our version, it asks for an SDK on the project SDK.
Okay, the one that is already selected, the one by default. Okay, this is the one we use 12.02.
Yeah.
Okay, we're using that one. You don't have any?
No, it's not showing any of that.
You have to download the JDK. The guy didn't explain that in the video?
No.
What? No?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
He did. You have to download the Java Developer Kit. Java would not work without this. So take your time to download that. You can download it here. If you click here, you can download it.
So if you click that, which one should we, can you click on?
Choose 12.0.2. Well, I don't have to do that.
No, I just want to see what its choices are going to give you. Open, okay.
Yeah, download.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So we're gonna do here next, right? And then next, and I'm gonna give you this name, Java Cert 1Z0-808. That's the name of the exam, right? It's Java's Oracle Java certification or certified programmer 1Z0-808. Okay, then I click on finish, and there we have this here. Okay, so now what we have to do is just click on this arrow here, and then in the source folder, SRC, is where we're gonna save everything, all the classes, the packages, everything. Okay, so are you here? Are you guys here?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
You go back? Oh. Okay.
Let me know when you guys here. Says no SDK. What do you mean, David? Says no ADK. You have to download it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to drop off for a moment. I need to restart my computer.
Okay. So anyways, you can watch the video, Maria. Okay, so right now.
Professor.
Go ahead.
I created the project with the other name.
It doesn't matter. This is for your computer. This will be saved in your computer. You can give it a name you want.
Okay.
I just gave it a meaningful name for you guys to see that we are in this class. And then every single program that we create, we're gonna create it here. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. So I'm gonna create here a package. That's the first thing we're gonna do because we want to organize our classes by packages. Okay, so I'm gonna come here, just right click on source, right? And then select new, and then come down here, it says package. Okay, so usually packages start with the company name and then dot and another thing that you want to put there. So in this case, I'm going to put Miami-Dade College, MDC, right? Then you see Java certification, just a package. Okay.
Lowercase, that's the naming convention.
Yeah, lowercase. Okay. In the case of classes, we have to put uppercase, but in the case of packages, is lowercase. Okay. So in this case, we're gonna name it just Learning Java. Okay. MDC Learning Java. You just hit enter, and it's created for you. Okay. So that's gonna be your package, right? Now we're gonna right click again because we're gonna create a class, right? The first thing that we're gonna see in this class today is the class structure. Okay, so that's gonna be the class structure. How do we create a class? And what is a class? A class is a blueprint, right? It's a blueprint of an object. It's what gives you the shape of an object. And what is an object? An object is an instance of a class. Guys, Java is an object-oriented language. It means that we are working with objects only. And what is an object? For example, let me, I wish I could have, just give me 1 second. It's very challenging to teach a class online. But when you are in a classroom, it's easier, it becomes easier. Okay.
Let me ask you this, from JavaScript, where it's an object where you say, you're describing like a person, and then you assign different objects to that person, right? It's the same deal, right?
Similar. They are object-oriented languages. They're both object-oriented languages, but they have different syntax. Okay, but the concept behind it is the same. Okay,
Is the same. Okay.
so we have a class, for example, a class named vehicle, right? So what can be an instance of this class? And an instance is an object. What can be an object of this class? BMW, right? So in other words, an object is an example of the class. So the class is a general thing, and specific examples is an object. Now you can have another object, for example, Toyota, right? That's another object, right? So the class is gonna construct that object. So the class, for example, what does a vehicle has? What does a vehicle have? A vehicle can have a brand,
Tires.
a make, right? A vehicle has a make. A vehicle has a color, right? A vehicle has
The tag,
speed, maybe, or gallons per, miles per gallon. What else does a vehicle have?
a big number, which is unique.
A VIN number, correct. VIN number. What else does a car have?
Models.
A model, correct. So this would be the attributes of that object. Okay, so every single car will have this. At least
It could also be like an SUV or whatever, SUV car.
Yeah, an SUV, but that will be an object. These are the attributes, right? Every car, for example, BMW has a make, a color, speed, a VIN number, and a model, right? A Toyota has a make, a color, speed, a VIN, and a number. A Nissan, right? A Nissan has make, color, speed, VIN, model. So all the objects of this vehicle class have these attributes. Okay? So when you create a class, you create the construct of that object. Okay? Because an object is an instance of that class. Okay? Let's see an example. Let's see here. So I'm going to create a class, right? So I right click here, and then come to new, and just put Java class. Okay, Java class. And we're going to create a Java class. In this case, we're going to call it person. Okay, just a person class. We're going to hit enter, and it creates a class for you. Okay, don't add it to GitHub. We don't need that. Just don't put that. Okay, so you see that the class is person. It's under this package that we created here, right? So we put the class person inside. Convention is to name the classes with capital letter. Okay, starts with a capital letter. This is a public class. It's going to be a public class, right? It has the class keyword and it has the name of the class, person. And the class is going to have a block, okay? And the block is going to be closed and open and closed with the curly braces, okay? And then you start writing inside, right? Now, before I do anything, I want to put here some comments, right? So I want to put / right? **, and hit enter. Now, comments in Java or any other language, what it makes is that the compiler will ignore the comments. The compiler doesn't read this. It just passes by that and it ignores it. It doesn't care about that. So you can put whatever you want here that it will not compile it. It will not just even read it. It doesn't care. So here, I'm going to put a comment here and I'm going to name it, just put my name, just my author, and I'm going to say author, probably author. I'm going to say probably Dunias Quintano, right? Dunias Quintano, and today, what there's today is 10/6/2020. Okay, so that's going to be, and you can put here just class structure, probably a name of the class. So that's a comment. Okay, same here. This is a comment too. So you can put double / just for example, you want to comment this is a function or a method, right? What is the objective of this? Is for people that are reading your code to understand what you're doing. So you can put comments. The comments can be either before the line, like this, you put the line here, or they can be after the line. Like, for example, here, you can put this, and then you put the comment here, and then you put here. So whenever there's a comment, the compiler will ignore the comment. They don't care about the comment. Okay? So that's the objective of the comment. Now, we have here a public class, okay? A public class. So let's create the object, right? Let's say private. It's good practice to use private because we want to encapsulate this data. We don't want anyone to access this data. Only the members of this class can access this data because we're gonna have a bunch of classes, right? And the classes are gonna be accessing the information from this class, okay? So we want to make this data, the attributes of this class, private. And we're gonna see that when we see encapsulation, okay? But for now, it's gonna be private. Now, the first name of the person is a string. And what is a string? A string is a group of characters. It's a text, right? So this is what we call in programming a type, right? A type is a string if it is a text. It's int if it is an integer. It's a double if it is a decimal, right? It is Boolean if it is true or false, okay? So that is a type. So this first name is gonna be a type, okay? So now we just created the first name attribute of the person, okay? And this first name is a text. Now the convention is to use camel casing. And what is camel casing? The first word starts with a lowercase, you see, first, and then the second word, the first letter is capital letter. So that's to be able to identify both words. It's easier than if you do this. It's more difficult. It's still readable, but it's more difficult. That's not the standard. The standard is to do this, okay? Now, I'm gonna put comments here. for you guys to understand everything that I'm doing. So this is the first name attribute, okay? Right? And of course, if you make a misspelling mistake, they will tell you person's attribute, okay? Now we're gonna create the second attribute is gonna be the last name. So we do the same thing. We are protecting this. We're just making it private, and then we say last name. The same thing, right? So we do this, and we say last name. We just copy here and paste, right? And we just change this guy here. Okay, simple. So we already have two attributes. And what other attribute can we put here? We can put private, age, but age is a number, right? So we cannot use the type string. We have to use int, okay? That's an integer, okay? Because we are not entering, for example, Dunieski or class or any text. We're entering a number like 30, 40, 60, right? Now we have three attributes, right? Of a person that has a first name, last name, age. So every single person has first name, last name, and age, right? Now, as these are private, right? These are private attributes, right? We have to create something called a getter and a setter, okay? A getter and a setter. A getter is a public method that allows other classes to access this, but you have to do it through the getter or through the setter. A setter is to set a value of this, guys, because here we're not doing this, guys. We're not setting a value, right? We're not doing that, right? We are just declaring the variable. We just declared the variable here, but we didn't give it any value, okay? So we are creating, and this is what we call a method, right? A method in programming, a method that is going to return a string. That's why we put here the return type. This is the return type, okay? So we say get first name, right? And then we do this. So the anatomy of a method is the access modifier. It can be public or private. In this case is private. In this case is public, right? We're making it public because any other class that we create under this package may access this data, and it has to do it through this guy because this guy is the only that is public. These guys are private, okay? So now we're going to return. What are we going to return? If we are getting the first name, then we're returning the first name, okay? So now we return the first name, right? So when we call this method from another class, we're gonna say, we create the object. We're gonna see how to create an object. And then we say, get me the first name from this class. And then you're gonna get the first name. But before you get the first name, you have to set it, okay? So we're gonna create another method, which is the setter, and it's not gonna return anything. That's why we say void, because it's not returning anything. And then we say set first name. We're going to pass a string with first name, and then we're going to say this first name equals first name. Okay, so here we are doing this. Now, this may look a little strange for you guys that maybe you don't have any knowledge of Java, but you know, it's gonna come in time. Okay, it's gonna come in time. Now, see how this works. If I create a class here and I call it class, maybe class test person. Okay, class test person. Okay, so class test person. I'm going to work with this object right now. Okay, and by the way, I haven't created the last name or age. That's why it looks that bad. Okay, so I'm going to create an object and say person, equals new person, right? And then we do this. Okay, that's the way that you create a person. So of this class person, right, we are naming this object. It could be any name. It could be, let's say, Dunieski. Okay, it could be any name. And then we're gonna say, let's create a new object of this. Now, behind the scenes, there's a constructor that is being called. There's no constructor here. We're gonna talk about constructors later, but when there's no constructor, Java will provide one for you. Okay, we're gonna talk about constructor later. Okay, now if I say, look at this. If I say Dunieski, set Dunieski,
Professor, are we going to take the break at 6:45, you said?
oh yeah, yes. So guys, let's take a break now and let's meet at 6:57. Okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, we continue. So we wrote some comments here that are ignored by the compiler. We created a package to organize our classes, right? We created a class, which is a blueprint that indicates how the object is going to look, okay, or what the object is going to look like, right? We wrote 3 attributes, right? And we established them private, right? We can't access those guys if you are outside the class, right? Now, I created these guys here, right? I created these guys. Let me create the same thing for these 2, right? Because I want to access the object entirely, not only one part. So I'm gonna copy these guys, and I'm gonna paste them down here, okay? Something, guys, that you need to know is that methods they cannot overlap. You cannot put a method inside a method. And this is a block, okay? That's the method block. So outside the block, you can write another method, but you cannot write a method inside that block. It has to be outside. We get a lot of errors here because we have the same name. As soon as we change the name and we say, for example, here, get last name, the error will disappear. And then we get last name here. Right? What happened here? Last name. Right? And then we do the same here with the last name. Right?
Professor?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know how to install the SDK. Could you please help me?
Did you watch the video?
Yes, I was watching the video. It's just that it was taking forever to download the what is it called? Yeah, the program. So then I know you said it, but I didn't quite get it. I'm sorry.
Can you watch me now and later you can watch the video again? Because the problem is that if I stop here, I will not be able to finish the class today. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, that's okay. Thank you, Professor. I'm sorry.
All right, guys. So we have we're doing the same thing for every single word here, right? Right. So we did the same for every single method. So we did the method for the first name, right? The method for the last name, right? The getter for the first name, the setter for the first name, the getter for the last name, the setter for the last name, the getter for the age, and the setter for the age. Okay. Now, let me create another class to work with these guys. Okay. So I have the class here, the class person. I'm going to create another class here, and I'm going to name it test person. So I'm going to test this object of this class that I just created. Okay. So this is going to be the class, right? Now I have 2 classes under the same package, person and test person. Person has the attributes of the person, and test person is going to create an object of this class person, and we're going to test it. Okay. Now, if you guys just type this, right? PSVM, that stands for public static void main. That's going to be the main method of that class. The only way that you can run a class is if you have this method. Otherwise, you cannot run it. This class will not run, right? Because it doesn't have a main method. There is no main method here. But this one has it, okay? So we can run this class. Now I'm gonna create an object of that class. So the way you create the object is by typing the class name, the object name, right? Or let's say person1, right? Person1. And then we use the keyword new because we are creating a new object. And then the name of the class again with this parenthesis. Okay, this is the constructor that we are invoking when we create an object. There's no constructor here. We didn't create a constructor, right? But Java will provide one for us, okay? If we don't create one. When we get to constructor, we will understand this better, okay? Now I'm going to create another object and I call it person2, okay? New person, and then this. And then if you use Control Command L, it will format it for you in Mac. Control Command L. It should be Alt Control L in Windows to format it, just in case it's maybe moved to the right or something like this. And then you do this and it will format it for you. See? Okay, so now I have a method called here set first name, right? So I'm gonna call the method using the object. The object uses a dot notation. I just put person1, and then when I hit the dot, you see the dot, I can see the method set first name. Okay, why? Because this method is public. If I make it private, right? If I make it private, and this one private, which is the set one, when I click here, I just do this, and I don't see it anymore. I see age, last name, but I don't see first name anywhere because I made it private. And only the members of the class can access this method. But I will make it public again. So I just put it public as it was before. And now, when I click on this guy, I can see the first name of the first name, the get and the set. Okay, so I'm gonna set the first name, right? But here we're passing something inside. We're passing a string, which is the first name of the person, right? That's a string. We have to match this. This is the method signature. It has to match whatever I'm doing here. So I have to put a name inside for that to match. Now the problem disappeared. And by the way, it changed. It's still the same color, but if I don't pass anything, I get an error because it doesn't match the signature of the method. You see, I immediately get a line here, like it's telling me there's an error. Okay, it says here one related problem. I click that and it takes me to the same place. So I have to pass that. Okay, and then the problem disappears. No more problem here. So I just set when I say set, I'm just assigning a value to the first name. I'm going to assign a value to the last name. So I said person1 set last name, last name. And then the last name is going to be Otano, for example. Okay. Remember that in the last name, we're also passing a variable, a value here. Okay. And then I'm going to pass the age. Okay. I'm going to pass the age. Set age, and it's going to be 44. Okay. So I'm passing that. I'm setting the values of those attributes. Now, if I just use the getter, because the getter is the one that's going to give me the value. So I go sysout, and then hit enter, and it gives me the command or the just the keywords for printing in Java. System.out.println. ln will put the word in the next line. Okay. If there's the next line, it's gonna put it below that. If it is print, it just prints one next to the other. Okay. But I'm gonna put ln, and then I'm gonna say person, because we have to use the object person1, get first name. Okay. And I'm gonna do the same for the last name. I say person1, get last name. Right? And then I do system, sysout. I did a person to get, sorry, 1, get age. And then if I print this, I'm gonna get the values that I set here. So I just run it here. What it says is run test person. If I run it, I just get Dunieski Botano 44. Right? That's how objects work. I'm just creating the object. This is a construct of the object, right? And then I am calling I'm just creating an object from this class, right? An object from this class, from the class person, and I'm constructing an object, right? And then with that object, I have access to all the attributes and all the methods of that class. So this is an instance of that class. Okay. So remember when we saw the class vehicle and then make, color, speed, VIN, model? It's the same thing here. We have the person class. So a person always has a first name, a last name, right? An age. Every person has that. Now the values, you just set the values with this method. Set the first name, set the last name, set the age. And you get those values using the get method. Get first name, get last name, and get age. And that's what we do here. Okay, so we can do the same thing with person2, which is another object. So let's say that person1 is one person and person2 is another person, right? So I can say 2 here, right? Because I create another object, and then I gave it a name, and I say Orlando, and then we say 37, right? Right? And now I can do the same thing here. I can print all those guys here, just copy and paste, right? And I can say person2, and person2. Now, if I run this guy, I'm gonna get 2 sets of first name and last name and age for the 2 different people. So I just put here, and then I say here, I get Dunieski right here, down here in the console. I get Dunieski Tano 44, Orlando Tano 37. And guys, I can create as many objects as I want from that.
Can I ask you a quick question? The system.out, is that kind of like console log right there, where that's like?
Correct. That's the way you print. That's the way you print in Java, in console log JavaScript.
Got you. And so the person.java at the top, that's like your template almost, and then the test person is adding the the details to the template. Okay.
Correct. A class is like a template. It's a blueprint, right? When you construct the object.
And what is that called again? What is the blueprint called again?
The class.
The class. Okay.
The class, right? So you create the class that is the skeleton of the object, but you don't give any values here unless you need to. You don't have any values here. So you set the values in another class that is going to run the program, because the main method is the one that runs the program. If you don't have a main method, it would not run, because that's the first method that the compiler looks for when you run the program. If there's no main method, it would not print anything. It will not print anything. So guys, we saw how to create a class, okay? A class has the keyword class, right? It has the name of the class starting with a capital letter. We make it public, right? unless we need to make it the other way, but now we made it public. We created 3 attributes and we made it private. So no one outside the class can access these guys unless they do it through the getters and the setters. And that's what I did here. Okay. Remember that I changed this public to private and then it was not visible anymore. Well, right now it's visible because it's public. Okay. So I can access all these guys and then create an object. Again, a class is a template. It's a blueprint where you create an object and then the object is set the values in another class. Okay. Any questions, guys? Is anyone?
You're getting right into it.
Do we get this script?
Yeah. Is anyone in a panic attack? Not yet.
No, it's good. We're good. I'm good.
Yeah, these are the basics of Java.
I do have a question though. Can you go back to the person.java? So you have a public class, right?
Yes.
And the get and the set are also public, right? Within the class.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it again that you have the set of the strings for first and last name as private and the age also?
Here, that's called encapsulation. You're encapsulating these values. Okay, you don't want,
can those be also public?
Yes, but it's not recommended. You don't want.
So for example, right? For example, like if you're dealing with like your data at a company, you want that information to be private, so it's not in the public eye, right? Is that the deal there?
Correct. You don't want people to see that. Okay. You don't want people to have access
because it's people's names and ages, and
it's not only that you don't have access that you cannot see it. It's also that you cannot access it. Access has been limited completely. You cannot. If you don't have these guys, you cannot have access to that.
So if you were to comment everything that it's under private in int age, right? If you were to comment all that, you won't be able to access it through test person.
Of course, they don't exist. You don't get it.
Yeah, okay.
They don't exist if you comment them. They don't exist. Right? They don't exist. You get an error here.
Now, if you make them public.
Oh, if you make them public.
Yeah,
then you don't need these guys. You don't need to get them through a getter or a setter because they're public. Can we see it? Right?
Just make one public and see what happens. I got it.
And then you can say.
Mm-hmm. You might want to give it another name.
And then you can see, for example, Carlos, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you can say Cisal,
uh-huh.
First name.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, person, 1, first name.
Uh-huh.
And then, if you run it, you get Carlos 2 times here.
Because it's person 1.
Yeah, because remember, you have set first name here, right? Dunieski.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes here, you're setting it to Carlos. You're changing the value, right? You're reassigning a different value. So it will get the last value, right? And then it will print it here, but it also prints it here again, 2 times. Remember, this guy continues to be public. This guy continues to work. This guy. So they both work. This guy, you can access it through this guy and directly through this guy. 2 ways to access it. But that's not good practice, Maria. You don't do that.
And that's not going to be on the test. On the test, it's going to be everything is going to be with the public, private. I mean,
if you do this, if you see it public in the text, then probably they most likely ask you if that is well encapsulated. You have to say no. That's not correct.
Yeah,
That's
it's like a
not
true or
private.
false. It's like a true or false or something.
You will never leave that public. Okay, that has to be private. That's encapsulation. Four of the four values, one of the four values, not values, of the four pillars of Java is encapsulation. It's one of the four pillars. So encapsulation is super important. Never leave your data public like this. No. Make it private and let the getters and the setters do their job.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So you are hiding the implementation. That's what you're doing here. Okay. And when we get to abstraction, which is another pillar of object-oriented programming, abstraction, you hide the implementation. Sorry, you hide the implementation, and here you're hiding the data. That's encapsulation. Okay. So we saw this. We saw the main method. Don't forget that the main method has a structure, right? But let's create another class, right? Let's create another class. Let's call it main. The main class. Okay? Don't show me this again. I don't want it. Okay, so we have the main method here. So we're gonna write a comment, right? And we're gonna say this is the main method. Okay. This is the main method. Okay, good. So now, what we're gonna test here is the parameters. The parameters we're gonna say param args, and then we're gonna use the command line arguments. Okay. Right. And then we're gonna create the main method. So remember the PSVM, public static void message main. I'm sorry. Don't forget that. In the test, they tend to ask you about this. They mix the order of the words. Okay. So that will be that way. Okay. So we're creating a main method. It's public static and void main. Okay. We're gonna know about static later. Don't worry about that. So I'm going to print the size of the arguments. We see here we have a string. This is an array. An array is a group of elements of similar type. Okay, whenever you see this, that's an array. Okay, that's an array in Java. Okay, the array is manifests itself in different ways in different languages. This is the way you do it in Java. So this is valid in Java, and this is also valid. Okay, that's also valid here. Right. So two ways to express an array. So they may try to trick you and put the main method like this, right? Still valid. Okay. So, but when you create that by default, it creates it like this. So you have an array of arguments, right? So whatever the arguments here, you're passing an array of arguments. Remember that we passed here, we passed the first name, right? Mm-hmm. And then we just added here. Okay, we just set a value. Same here. Java is passing an array of arguments. Is 0 right now. There's nothing right now. And we're going to print it for you to see. So we can say this out, right? And we can say args size, right, equals. And then we say args. We have the variable here, right? We can use the variable here and say dot length, which is an attribute of that array. So every array has a length, okay? A length is a group. I mean, let's say like you have an array that's, for example, Dunieski, an array of names, Carlos, right? Benitez or Benito, Charles, okay? That's an array of names, one after the other, okay? In Java, usually they put commas like that, right? Well, separated by commas. Now you have an array of names. The length of this array is 4 because you have 4 elements, okay? But right now, the arguments that we have here is 0 because there's nothing, okay? Let's run the program. And if this program is going to run because we have main, the main method here. So we can just run it, right? And right now, we don't get anything because we have to run it this way. So you double click here or right click, and you say run main. Remember, it has the memory. In memory, it still has person or test person. We have to just put here main, and then it will run main. So right now, the size of that is 0. Okay, there's nothing there. Okay, but we can modify this, right? We can come here where it says, main edit configuration here. You see edit configuration, and right here it says program arguments, right? We can say Java separated by space programming. Let's say JavaScript, 4 different languages script. Let's say C#. Let's say, what else do we say here? Ruby. Let's say Go. Another language.
Python.
Python, very good. So we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we just passing these arguments, right? So I just apply it and then okay. And now we run the program, we should get 6. So we run it now and we get 6. You see, we're passing the arguments right now. We changed that. Before it was 0, okay? Before, right here, it was 0. There was nothing. But now we're passing this, which is giving Java 6 arguments. And then when it prints it, the length is going to be 6, right? Now, we can print each one, right? Remember, when we have an array, just know this. When we have an array of, let's say, of names, right? An array of names. Let's say that we have, let's say, string names, new string, and then we say this, and we say Unieski. Tano. Okay. So we have an array of 5 elements here. Okay. And then we can say names 0 equals Dunieski. Okay. Now, an array, something that you have to understand, guys, is that an array is 0 based. What does it mean? It means that if the array has, it has a length of 6. Let me put them here just in case for you guys to understand. So I have the first one here, the second one here, and then we have.
Doesn't it start with 0?
Yes, Carlos, and then let's say Benito. Okay. So this is an array of names, right? Now the first element is going to be 0 because it's 0 based. It begins with 0, right? So now the second element is going to be 1, right? The third element is going to be 2, and the fourth element is going to be 3. So always the index is length minus 1, okay? The length is 4, right? The length is 4. But the index is 0, 1, 2, 3. It's length minus 1. Okay, don't forget that. Okay, so now we have an array of arguments here. We see this square brackets here. That means that this guy is an array. And of course, we got 6 here. It's an array of arguments. So if you want to print the first one, what do we have to do? We say args, right? And then we say 0. So what do you think it's going to print? What do you think it's going to print? Java, right? So we print now. We just run this program. And then we get what? Java. So we printed the first element of the list, right? If we're going to print the second one, we just 1. And then we print JavaScript. Okay? So that's an array. Arrays is 0 based. Okay? So now we want to print, right, each one separated. Okay? So there's something called, and if you study JavaScript, you know about that. There's something called a for loop. Okay? So I'm going to use a for loop. A for loop is what we use to print an array, because it's going to be looping through every single element, and it's going to print every single element. It's going to iterate over every single element. It's called a for loop. Okay? And it's gonna loop according to the length of the array. So the length is 6, right? So it's gonna loop 6 times. Okay? So we're gonna say here, for, this is the syntax of the for loop, okay? We say for, and then we start with a value. For int I, it can be A, it can be B, it can be C, any number, okay? It's pretty standard to use I, okay? Like index, okay? So for starting from 0, okay, we're gonna say as long as I, which is this number here, is less than the length of args, right? Then we're gonna loop. And when we finish each loop, we're going to increment the I, okay? So basically, this is what it's doing, this, guys, for you to understand what it's doing. So I++, sorry, I++ is the same as this. I plus 1 is the same thing, okay? So basically it's this, I equals I plus 1. That's what it means, okay? This is called an incrementer. It's incremented by 1. So why by 1? Because this I here has to be incremented if you want to loop, right? So it's gonna say here, for I equals 0, and I, which is 0, right, is less than 6, because this number is 6. That's the array of the args, right? That's the length of the array. So it's gonna say, it's gonna just execute this block. This is a comment, okay? Whatever we put after this, it's gonna just print this block, and then after it prints the block, it's going to increment it by 1. And then next iteration, I is gonna be 1. But still, this is true. So I is, which is 1, is less than 6. So loop again, and then it's gonna increment the I by 1. Then it's gonna come again, it says I is 2. 2 is less than arg, which is 6, right? And it's gonna be looping as long as it is true. When it becomes false, then it will not loop anymore, okay? So when I becomes 6, it just exits the loop, no more. From 0 to 5, it's gonna be looping. Remember that the array has 6 elements, but the indices are from 0 to 5. Don't forget that the array is 0 based, okay? So right now, I'm going to print, I'm gonna say sysout, and I'm going to say args I, okay? Remember the I is gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're gonna print every element of the array by just incrementing the index. Don't forget that, remember the array was like this. This first element is 0. The second is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the 6 elements in the array. Don't forget that the index is length minus 1. Okay? So the first one, 0, is going to be what? Java. Right? Java. The second one is going to be JavaScript, according to what we have here. Okay. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So as we are incrementing I here is being incremented by 1 every time that it comes here. This number is going to go from 0 to 5. It's going to say system.out.println args 0. Next time it iterates, it says printed args are 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. And I'm going to show you how this increments. Okay, let me print this, and we're going to get something. So what do we get? All the elements of the array. Okay, because we are incrementing this. Let me put a breakpoint here. A breakpoint. Okay, a breakpoint, what it does is stops the execution there, and then you can go step by step and see the values of I. So I'm going to run it here with a debugger, debug main. Okay, let me see if this works. Okay, so right now, I has a value of Java. You see Java? That's the first iteration, right? Java. So I has a value of what? 0. You see 0 there? And I is 0. But this is Java is the first value. Okay? Now, if I just step over, I just go to the first line again, and I iterate the second time. I is going to be how much? 1. And then this value is going to be 1, right? And it's going to print Java. You see the arguments are here, right? And I is 1. So next time that I iterate, step over, then I is 2. And then I is 2. And then it's printing what? 0, 1, 2, C#, right? It's right here, C#, right? We're just debugging, okay? Debugging this. Just in case I have an error, I can find where the error is. So next, I'm gonna step over again, and then next time I is gonna be 3, and it's gonna be Ruby is right here, okay? And I'm gonna step over again. This is that every time I step over is a new iteration, okay? I step over again, and I is gonna be 4, and 4, and it's go. And still this is true because 4 is less than 6. This is the length, 6. When it becomes false, in other words, when I becomes 6, then it exits the loop and it prints from 0 to 5. You see, when I hover this, it's 0. It's true. It's showing true because 4 is less than 6. Now, if I step over again, right? And then I get I is 5, and this continues to be true, right? That's true. And that will be Python. Now, this next iteration, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? It's going to do what? It's going to
exit the loop.
Exit the loop. That's it. No more. And then in the console, we get the 5 languages here, the 6 languages. And I can see that the debugger is showing me all the guys here. This is how you debug. So I can stop this, and then come here and send and just stop it. Okay. So that's how the main works, right? I can make it even more beautiful. I can just comment this guy, right? And I can say sys out, right? Sys out. And I can say, sorry about that, args, right? And then I put this guy, I close the quotation, right? And then I put this plus, this is when you put a variable inside a text. You have to separate it by the plus symbol, okay? I put I, because I is a variable, right? I, and then I close the I again, and I go back to the text, right? And then I do this. What do you think it's gonna print, guys? Based on what we're seeing, what do you think it's gonna print so far?
Print out each one of the languages.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. It's gonna print args, and then a square bracket, 0, 1, 2,
Oh, yeah.
3, 4,
Yeah.
5, and then square, just close the square.
So
Then
it's basically the same thing that you just did, only just different syntax.
correct. Now it's going to go. It's going to print print the languages,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Professor, I just have one question.
Go ahead.
How do I add the files like mdc.learning Java? How do I add that?
Okay, that's a package. So you click here in source, right click, in new, you create a package. And then under that package, you create the classes. You want me to show you that? So I'm gonna create a package name, com.apple.com as an example. Apple, just like that. It creates the folder, you see there? And then under that, you right click, and then you create a Java class. Okay, that's how you get there. Let me delete it because I don't need that. Okay, deleting, make sure that I'm deleting the correct thing. Yes, right. So now if I print this, it looks beautiful now. I can see, and I have a problem here. What happened here? Yes. Okay, sorry. This is what I have to do. Okay, now yes. Print it now, and it gives me all the languages. You see here? Can you guys see my console? The print? Okay.
Yeah.
You see? I am printing each element of the array. Okay. And I put the index inside for you guys to see that 0 is Java, 1 is JavaScript, 2 is C#, 3 is Ruby. And the length of the array is 6 right here. But the indexes begin with 0. So do you guys understand?
Yes.
Yep.
So as you can see here, I can comment this guy, uncommented, right? I can comment an entire block, but just what I have to do is just select everything, right? And when you select everything, just do, I think in Windows is Control ? In Mac is Command ? And then you can comment everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is comment a lot of things at the same time, but you have something called a comment block comments. Okay, so you can do this and then use this guy, right? And then this guy here, right? So in that case, you're commenting a block. So you have line comments, which is this one, just by putting the / 2 times. And you also have the block comments, which is a / and then you close it with the star and / just the inverse process, the inverse order. Okay, that is called a block comment. Okay, guys.
Mhm.
So, does anyone else have a question?
No.
How are the questions on the test? Are they more coding based where we're going to be in like a system like this, or are they going to be more like a just more questions?
Coding based.
Coding based. Okay, so you're actually going to be in like a system coding.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. So let's see something else. One moment. Okay, so let's see an example now of an import, right? So right now, I'm going to create another class, and I'm going to call it import example. Okay, import example. Right? I'm going to use this like I did before, right? PSVN, and just have the main method so I can run the program. Okay. So right now, I want to create a random number, right? Just a random number, right? There's a class named random. As you can see here, it immediately imported this class random. You see, that's an import. That was not there before. I can do it again because you were not expecting that, right? I can see random, and it imports that for me. Now, they may tell you in the exam if there are unnecessary imports in your package or your class, right? So this is the order of the class here. So you're going to have the package first, right? Then the import, and then the class declaration. Okay, very important. Don't forget that. The package first, then you have the import. All the imports, you may have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 imports, depending on what you need, right? If you're creating, for example, an array list, like say a list, for example, you have to import this guy here, list. Okay, and Java will import it for you. So, but in the exam, you don't have Intellisense, you don't have IntelliJ with you, so you have to remember that. As you can see, if I just put maybe list as an example, right? Just list, right? And I put this guy here, right? I can still use random, right? Because this star is a wildcard. It means that whatever is after this dot will be taken, will be accepted. And as you can see, if you take a close look at this, you see that the same import for list is similar to the one for random. The only difference is whatever is after this dot. You see? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what you have to do is just put the star. It means that everything that comes from this Java util package, it will be accepted. Okay, so I can use list, I can use random, right? And I can create a random number. Just call it random. You can call it whatever you want, random number, whatever you want. Okay, and then we can say new, because it's a class. Remember, when you create an object of a class, this is the structure of an object. Don't forget that. Random is a class. And in IntelliJ, you can see the color of this. This is the color for classes. Okay. Here, we see that person has a blue color. Okay. When we create an object of this person one, it has a blue color. So it's easy to identify with this IDE. The bad thing about this is that in exam, you don't have an IDE. You just have a bunch of lines of code. Okay. and they're all black and white. There's no color. So I can create a random number, and I can say system out, system sys out, and then I can say print random next int, and then say 5. This is what it prints. Let's see. I'm going to run this guy. Right. Sorry. And then we get a 0. We run it again. We get a 3. We get a 3 again. We get a 2. We get a 0. So this is good for a game, right? For a game, right? We can just probably say maybe we can say scanner input, say new scanner. We say system dot in, right? This is to get the input from the user, right? So we can say sys out, enter your name, right? And then we can say name, not name, sorry, enter a number. And then we can say number equals input that next. Okay, sorry. The type cannot miss there. Okay. Next int, because we're getting an int, right? Now we can say if number equals random,
You won.
okay.
Print you won.
Sorry?
No. I said print you won.
Okay, not a problem. It doesn't accept it. Okay, not a problem. So we can compare a number like that, okay? But don't worry about that now. So we're getting this random number, okay? So real quick, guys, real quick. I want you to create a class. Just create a class, just a short class, right? Let's just create a class. Let me have here this, probably this guy here. Let's create a class name animal, okay? And then have some attributes there, some probably name. An animal has a name, right? So create a class animal, right? Just an attribute name, another attribute color, age, maybe another attribute it's breed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just create a getter and a setter for every single attribute, okay? For every attribute. Real quick. And then just create another class and name the class animal test, and then create just one object, one animal object, and print its attribute values. How about that? Do you like it?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do that. That's quite basic, but you know, for you guys that are beginning now, this is quite a challenge. But let's try to do that real quick. Does anyone want to share the screen? and go for it so that we can move faster. Maria? Maria, yes or no?
I did that before, so maybe we should have someone else. I don't mind doing it, but
You did it before, when?
no. Like I was sharing and when we were installing the app, not before.
Okay. Omaro, you want to go for it?
Omaro, be brave.
Omaro? Maro's hiding.
I know.
Yeah. Guys, who wants to go for this? Come on. That's the way you learn, by making mistakes.
Hey, Professor.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Do you recommend subscribing to javascript.com for practice?
Okay, this is a different language, okay? You can implement the knowledge that you have in JavaScript for Java, but there are different languages, okay? Java is a super powerful language. It's the only language that you can create in one platform and run it in every single platform. Not all languages have that. JavaScript also has inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation, the 4 pillars. This is an object-oriented programming programming language. But yes, you can do that, but you're gonna be confused. I mean, at the same time, that might be a little confusing because you have to use different syntax, okay, and different words. In JavaScript, you know, when you print, you have to use console.log, okay? Okay, not the same in JavaScript, okay?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Read line is in C#. Okay, you can take it. It's gonna help you, you know, but it's not the same language, all right? So guys, who wants to go for this? Waiting for someone.
I can try.
Okay, go ahead, please.
All right, share screen.
You can share the screen now. Go ahead. Real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, private is not with capital letter. Okay, it's lowercase.
Now I am stuck.
So you see there that there are like a little line after, red line after the name.
Mm-hmm.
You need to declare whether it's a string or an integer.
That's right. You're missing the type. Don't forget the type. So no, before. The type is before the name of the attribute. So a name, is it a okay, it's capital S. Okay, you see the colors? The colors are indicating that something is wrong. So, okay, you see? Now you have Intellisense telling you. Okay, now you're missing something else because you're missing something in there because you see that red line after name. What do you put there?
First name.
No, what do you put after name?
After name, I will
colon?
put colon.
Semicolon.
Semicolon.
Not a colon. Semicolon. Every line in Java ends in semicolon. That's a colon. Semicolon.
Yeah, semicolon.
All right. So you should move faster on ends. Just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and then you change the name. That's how you move fast. Okay? That's how you move fast.
You put the pressure on them. I'd be doing the same thing. Don't worry.
Okay. Delete the entire thing. Okay. Okay, just put color now. Color instead of name. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Not this.
No, you don't need a comment. Okay. So now do the same one with the other one, but now remember that H is not a string. H is not a text.
It's an int. There you go.
Int.
An integer.
That's right. That is correct. So the next one is a string, right? Because breed is a text, right? Poodle, German Shepherd, whatever. Good. So you have created your first 4 attributes of the animal.
Good job. Yay.
Okay. Now let's create just one getter and setter. Okay.
Isn't int supposed to be with the uppercase I?
I should be big, capital.
Now just no int is fine. Just enter. Leave some space there. Enter again, and now create the method. So the method starts with a access modifier. It can be private, public, protected.
So it's public.
Public.
Public. Okay, you have wait, don't do anything. You have that guy helping you all the time, right? So what you have to do is enter. Just go back, delete that. Delete. Just put P. Just put U. Enter. Okay, continue. So you have the Intellisense. That's called Intellisense. It's helping you all the time. So public. So when you get something, are we returning something? Are we returning? Yes, we're returning, right? So you have to put the type. We're returning something. What are we returning? The name. So what is the type for the name? What is the type?
String.
Correct, because we are returning a string. Okay. When you call this method, it has a return type. That's a string. You're returning the name of the dog, or whatever animal you're doing there is, dog, cat, whatever. Okay. So now give the name of the, just no, by convention, no. It's get name by convention. Just
right there. Click.
It's right there.
Click. There you go.
Okay. Now every method has an opening parenthesis and a closing parenthesis. Just put it there. Open parenthesis and close it. No, that's not parentheses. No, that's not parentheses either. Okay, it's number 9, shift number 9. That's right. So now to open the block of the method, go outside, move to the right, open curly braces, enter. Right, that's the block of the get name method. Okay, now we're gonna return the name, return name. It's right there. Hit enter. Name, because that's the variable that we have there. Name, and then every single line in Java ends with
Semicolon.
semicolon. Good. Now get outside that method. Outside the method. Remember, you cannot create a method inside a method. Just the method ends in the curly braces. No, just still inside. Go outside. Just move. That's right. Now create the setter. Start with the same thing, public.
String.
Set.
No, we're not returning anything with the setter. We're setting a value. We're not returning anything. The type for return type is void. You put the type. You put void when you're not returning anything. You put another type like string int when you're returning an integer or string, something like that. The name by convention is set. No, that's fine. That's a return type. Void. Okay. And then set. That's there, right there. Number one. Now we're passing, open parenthesis. We're passing, open the parenthesis. Every method has a parenthesis. Okay, we're passing a string. Okay, just use the type string inside the parentheses. String. Because we're setting a value. We're setting a value, right? So we have to pass a value. Give it any name you want. Just usually put name. Space. Name. Right? Get outside. Do the same as the curly braces. Right? Enter. Good. Now we're going to say this, T-H-I-S, this, that name, dot, none of that, dot. A point, yeah, but not there. Right after S, yes. Dot name equals name. Okay? Semicolon. Right. So what are we doing here? The name that you're passing inside the parentheses, you are assigning it to the name of the class. That's why you say this dot name. We're using this represents the class where that name is. That name, the name that you see there after this is not the same as the other one. They're not the same. But we're using this because we want to differentiate them. They have the same name, right? The first one is the name of the class of the attribute that you see up there. And the other one is the one that you're passing from the other class that we're going to see. So that's fine. That's fine. Now create another class under the same package. I don't know why you have so many mistakes there. I see a lot of red lines there.
Where?
So go to the package, MDC.learning, the package, there, just the package.
MDC.learning Java.
Package.
No, down, right there. Click, no, right there, click.
Right click, new,
Here.
new, create a class. And the name of the class is test class. Remember, by convention, the class begins with capital letter. Test class. Second word, capital letter, that's called Pascal case.
Animal.
Correct. Animal test, right? That's the name that I said,
Yes.
right? Animal
Yes.
test. Animal test. So, no, capital letter. Animal test. So that's Pascal casing. No. Only
No
one.
spacing. One word.
You get an error. Capital word, capital letter, T. Yeah, animal test. Enter. Now get inside the class. You're not inside the class now. You are before the class name. Get inside the class. Enter. Right. So now we're going to create a main method. Remember the PSVM? PSV, right, enter. You create a main method, right? Now let's create an object of that class. What is the name of the class of the other one that we created? What is
Animal.
the name of it?
Animal.
So, write that.
Animal test.
Animal one.
No, the name of the
No,
class.
animal, and the object is animal.
Remember, the name of the class is animal.
Okay.
The name of the class is animal, but the object is going to be called animal one.
Or whatever you want. You can call it dog, cat, horse.
Or cats, dogs.
Yeah.
Not
The variable
necessary.
name doesn't matter. The variable name doesn't matter. It could be any name. But the class is only one, is animal. So the way you create an object is by typing the class name first. Class name, animal. Just enter. Right, space, and give it a name you want. Let's create a dog. A dog is an object of the class animal. So a dog is an animal, right? No. The name of the variable starts with a lowercase. Dog. Okay. Equals. Leave a space to make it more beautiful. Equals. Leave a space again. And then we have to use the new keyword to create an object. So use the word new. Right? And then the name of the animal again. The name of the class again. Space. No. Space. Name of the class. Right there. You see there? Enter. Perfect. And now finish the line with a semicolon. Good. Enter. You just created the object, right? Now we have to set the values. We have to call the method setter for that. Okay. So use the object name. What is the object name?
Dog.
Dog, right? And then let's access the public setter. So dot, that's dot notation. Now set name, because you're going to say the value. Set the value. Set name, number 2. Just types S, just S. No, lowercase s. Enter. Just put any name you want. The name of the dog. No, it's a string. Don't forget it's a string. Just go back to the class animal. Click on the class animal again. In the tab, up. Click on the tab animal in the class. Go up and up. When you see the classes there, animal, animal test, person. No, up in the tab. Yes, go to class animal. Yes, animal. You see that the name is a string? You see the name is a string? And you're passing, go down. What it says, set name. You see next to it, string name. So you're passing a string. The value that has to be inside the parentheses is a string. Go back to the animal test right there. Then you have to put a string inside the parentheses. It has to match a string, a value, not the word string, a value. Just put quotation marks.
Quotes, and then Tommy, and then quotes. No.
Yeah. Tommy.
There you go. You did it.
Okay, good. Next line. Now we're gonna print, just put S out. S out. Okay, S out. UT.
Second one, Anand.
Enter.
There you go.
And now put between just quotation marks. The name of the dog. No. The name of the dog. Right. The name of space. The name of the dog.
Yes.
is, leave a space, go outside the quotation marks, outside the quotation marks, right there, space, plus, plus,
Dog,
plus,
that name.
Plus.
plus,
Plus, like, yeah, huh?
okay, and then the name of the object, because we have to use the object to access the name of the object. No, the name of the object is dog.
Dog, dot, uh-huh.
And then dot,
Set name.
get name, get.
Oh, get. So yeah, get.
Okay, yeah, print it, please.
On it.
Okay, you have a bunch of errors there, so probably you would not be able to print anything. You see the person has an error there, the person class.
Should print.
Okay. All right, run that. It's taking a while. Okay, you see, you have a problem there. You see, just put it, you're putting a semicolon, a colon there. You see colon, it's not colon, it's semicolon. And you forgot the name, first name. The verb has to have a name. Anand, after
Yes.
string, there has to be a verbal name. It doesn't have a name.
The string doesn't have a name after it.
The name of the
It
verb.
should say string.
Why are you going to the next class? That doesn't have a problem.
Delete person.
Just how you did it on the last name.
Yeah. A personal Java. No, you still have an error. You'll not be able to run anything. You have,
Well, he can delete person, right?
you still have an error. Okay. And then you see the word string. Go back to the person class. You see the word string.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you have to put the name of the variable. Put a name there.
First name. Put first name next to string. No, go back. No. Go back. Back. Go over the semicolon.
Yes.
Okay. Now space, and then first name. Just type first name.
Right.
And semicolon. No. Dot. There you go. And then the next line, last name. After last name is a semicolon also. And after H is semicolon also.
And now comment the next line. Comment the next line. Comment it. The line that says public string get first name. Comment it.
Or just delete it.
And now comment the line that says public string get first name. Comment it.
In front of public string get first name, put / Go down.
Line
down
number
and
nine.
up. No, not there.
Line
Go
9.
Down.
Number 9, yes.
Right there. / There you go.
Run it now.
You still have an error. Go back to person.java. You see
String is
it's red, it means your S. It needs to be in uppercase.
The red
yes.
string.
Line 5.
Right there, yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and by convention, first name, the N is capital and first name and last name. But that doesn't matter. Run it. Run it, please.
That's more like a convention, right? It's not really a requirement.
Yeah, but in the test it will appear. Okay. The name of the dog is Tommy.
Good job. Yay.
Okay, go. Thank you.
Why it is talking to first person Java? Why not this animal Java?
What?
Sorry, say that again.
Why this script is talking to this, not to this?
It doesn't matter, but it's in the same package.
Okay.
In the same package.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Need to learn Java basics.
Yeah.
It was a good step-by-step.
Right. So let's create another class and let's call it static import example. Okay. static import example. Okay. So right now I'm going to do the PSVM like we know, right? Now I'm gonna know this int. Just write int minimum. I'm gonna find the minimum number of this minimum thing, and then I have to do 5 and 7. Okay. Now I have a problem here. Okay. I have a problem because I haven't imported the class that has this method. Okay. What I have to do is just come here and say import static, right? Import static, and that's java dot len dot math dot min. And now this is working. So this is another class that is very common. The class math is the class that has the min, is the class that has the pi, the p or the pi, the 3.14 value. So it's a static. It has values and methods, right? So min, just like this class has a method named set state, set age, and then I can call it from here, set age. The same happens this here. The math class has a method called min. Okay, those are classes that are already created for you, built-in classes in Java. Okay, these are classes that we create. Person we created, test person we created, main we created. We created import example. We created static imports example. But this one is a built-in class that Java has, and it has a method called min. Now, if I print this method, this number, I would get, guess what? What do we get? Should we get 7, right? Oh, I'm sorry, should we give, that's max min. Okay, so I can say, the minimum number or the smallest number is, sorry. Right. Okay. So if I run it now, the smallest number is 5. Okay. So maybe, can I have max? And then use max here. What do you think? So what do we get now?
7.
7. How about doing this? What do you think, guys? How about doing this? And then we can do this. And then say here, max, and then min. And then here. Do you like it?
Yeah.
So we're just using this wildcard to bring everything that's coming after all the methods that the math class has. So I can say the smallest number is m, is min, and a space here, and the biggest number is max. So I can do this here, and I get this, and the biggest number is 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can also use, right, this guy, I can say import static Java lan, and send system dot out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one that we use for printing, right? Right? And then we can say out.
It deleted.
Yeah, I deleted it.
Oh, okay.
I can do it again.
Oh, you meant to do that. Okay.
Yeah, it's missing that out. And then I can have out that println.
Oh,
Okay, those are imports that make my life easier. Okay,
mhm.
I can also have another one and say import, right? I can say import static, right? And say Java lan math pi, right? And of course, it's having this guy here. But if I do this, probably I can do that. And I can say maybe print, maybe print out, and say pi. And then if I print that, what do I get? 3, 4, 14. That because I'm just importing everything that math has. And math has a lot of things, right?
Those are libraries. The
Yeah.
system
It's a
has
class.
preset.
It's a class. So it has a lot of methods here. And when I bring the math dot star, I'm bringing all these guys over. All of these guys over. Okay. I also have round here. Round. Okay. Round for a double. Okay. Maybe I can just put a star here. Right. And this guy, so despite the 14, I can say round pi. Okay, right, round this guy here. And then it's going to give me another value, right? It's going to give me 3. So it rounds it to a one place. Maybe if I do this, it doesn't work this way. Maybe like this. Doesn't work that way. Okay, it's a long and an int. Okay. So this would turn it into
An integer.
An integer, and that's not what we want. Okay, we can do something about that later. But we have pi here, and the purpose of this, guys, of this little lesson is for you to understand that when we import specific classes and everything that comes with it, we can use all the methods and all the libraries and things that class has, like Max.
So what are other library classes that or classes that have libraries in them? Math is one, system is one. What would be another one?
Another one. Let me see. Don't remember one now. No that comes to my mind.
So this makes the code cleaner, right? You
Yeah,
only
cleaner.
import what you need when you need it.
Those are classes that all the people have created, the Java developers that did this. Okay. We can also import another class, right? From another package. Let's say, for example, we create another package here. Okay, what time is it? It's almost 3 minutes. Create another package here and call it another package. Right. Just in case you have another package, right? Let me create another class here and say animal. I don't have that class, right? And then I can say PSVM and then say sysout animal, right? So I can come to imports here and just say import static and then say MDC, learning Java, and then let me just bring actually that's not the one.
Another package, right?
Another package. Another package. The problem is that this is not
They need the nomenclature, right?
It's not written correctly. So let me delete this package and let me do it again. But this time I'm going to do it correctly. So I'm going to do, let's say, MDC, another package. Okay. Now, when I do that, I can do this. Well, actually, okay. Okay, let me see if that works this way. The class animal, right? And then the animal class is going to have PSVM, and then sysal animal, right? And then here I can import, I can say MDC, another package, and then inside the package you can have the class. Okay. Why is doing this? Okay, don't worry. You can have this guy and then main method. This, I don't know what this is. Sometimes it happens with.
Shouldn't you be pointing into the learning Java, since that's where we wrote the other animal class? Because you have two animal classes now, one in another package and one in learning Java.
Well, actually, I did delete the other one. I don't have an animal class here.
Oh.
No, I don't have the animal class. This animal class is on this package.
Oh, okay.
But you know.
Oh yeah, Anati's one that did the animal. All right.
My point is.
NDC.
My point is, guys.
Remove NDC. No.
Yeah, I realized that. Let me do this again. Sorry, guys, I have to delete this again. So I would do it with a different name. Okay, so I'm gonna use maybe com that another package.
Okay.
So it doesn't have the same folder. All right, and now it's gonna be a little different. Okay, so now I'm gonna create that class animal. Right. Animal class. And then I'm gonna have this guy here, the PSVM, and I'll say sysal animal. Right. And then now I'm gonna say com that another package, that animal. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remove.
It's removing it. I don't know why. It's not supposed to. That's the way it is, right? That's the way it is. But guys, it's just that you are importing another class from here. So if I say animal, you see, it imports it automatically.
Oh yeah, I did.
And it's basically doing exactly, well, actually it's not using the word static. Okay. The word static is the one that was removing it. Okay. But now it can use that animal class and then, you know, probably new animal. And then okay. Don't worry about this. It doesn't matter. Basically, we can import a class from another. You see, as soon as I remove it, it disappears.
Away.
Yeah. So you can import classes that other people have made, as well as classes that you have made, just using the import keyword as static.
So that's almost like CSS, where you can get like different stuff from like the browser.
Correct.
Got you.
Yeah. So guys, it's 8:30. It's being a productive class. We're gonna continue learning more on Thursday. We have a lot to cover. We lost like an hour today, an hour or so, trying to install the IntelliJ. But on Thursday, we're gonna, just hit the ground and start running on as 5:30.
Okay. Yep.
So, did you understand at least 60 or 70% of the class?